Hello and welcome back to Mondays with Melissa. I'm so glad that you are here. I think what I'm going to do as we head into the holidays is I am just going to do a quick snippet on Mondays on how you can survive the holidays from a physical perspective, which we'll focus on today. Then I'd like to do maybe a mental perspective, then an emotional perspective, just so you're kind of getting that holistic picture of health, because I think we can, again, focus so much on health being what we eat and if we exercise and what we look like, that we negate our mental and emotional well-being. And those are just as important, and those make up who we are, and all of these things impact one another. And so I think it's a real disservice in society today to only look at health in terms of what we eat, if we exercise, what we look like, what we weigh, what size we are. You know the drill. So I do want to focus this week on the physical component of how, to be physically strong and healthy during the holidays, because, at the time of this episode, we've just gotten through, I believe, Thanksgiving. And we know that that has a lot of pies, a lot of sweets, a lot of foods. We know that we've had Halloween, which is like candy fest. And we know that we are coming upon Christmas, which is cookies and fudge and cocoa and all of the deliciousness that this last quarter holds. And I learned a shocking statistic that Americans consume 4,590 teaspoons of sugar from January to September. So January to September, that's 9 months. However, from October to December, they consume 3,510 teaspoons in 3 months. 3 months. So we've got 4,590 in 9 months and 3,510 in the last 3 months. So, might be an area that we would want to look at and possibly improve upon. So let's dive in. Let's talk about how to have a healthy holiday. I do have a gifty with this episode. I'll put it in the show notes. It is my guide to healthy holiday drinks. There's some really delicious kid-approved drinks in there as well. They're not all cocktails. I don't even really drink cocktails, but I just thought it would be a nice gift for you to kind of upgrade your drinks this holiday season. So it's absolutely possible to celebrate and enjoy the season while living a healthy, fit lifestyle. I guarantee it. So it's easy and fun. It just takes a little bit of planning and creativity. That's why we're talking about this now, right? I maybe should have talked about it sooner, but we're here. We're doing the best that we can with what we have. And so I just want to give you some tips to stay on track this holiday season. The first thing is have a plan. If you're going to go to a party or you are inviting people in, come up with a strategy so that you can enjoy yourself and stick with your healthy habits. Whether this is eating a light meal before you leave, or making sure there are healthy options for you. One thing you can do at a restaurant, if you're going to a restaurant, look at the menu ahead online and kind of have a plan going in of, okay, I'm going to have this for my protein and this for my fat and this for my vegetables. So you have an idea of going in what you're going to eat. That's really helpful. And you can do that not even during the holidays. That's something I do year round. The next thing is, don't deprive yourself. If you decide to indulge, make sure that it's worth it. We all indulge from time to time. We should indulge from time to time, and we shouldn't feel guilty or bad about that, because if we get into this deprivation trap, we want it all the more. Where the mind goes, the man follows. So if we're continually telling ourselves that we shouldn't or we can't or that's bad or whatever that programming is, we want it all the more. So if you're going to have something, enjoy it. Enjoy it. It's okay. Tip number 3, I just had to get a drink of water. Make sure you drink plenty of water. Again, the recommendation is half of your weight in ounces of water. So if you weigh 150, you're going to want to have 75 ounces of water. But this is super important because a lot of times we will think that we're hungry or that we are craving sugar, and actually we're dehydrated. So just make sure you're drinking plenty of water. That will also do a nice job of kind of flushing toxins that we may get in our systems out. The next thing is, think about the head start you'll have on New Year's Day, okay? So I think so many times we maybe don't start with the end in mind, and I think that's where we get hung up on not reaching our goals, right? Is that we don't start with the end in mind. We don't have a strong enough why. And so we're not able to create that lasting change and transformation that we desire. But if we have a strong, powerful why and a reason why we're doing what we're doing, and we can start with the end in mind, that can be really powerful. So think of how you're going to want to feel on New Year's Day and going into the next year. And that maybe will help you, you know, kind of fight off some of those thoughts and those sabotaging beliefs that come our way around food in this time of year. Take time to enjoy what's truly important this season, your friends, your family, your loved ones. And it's really not about the food. And I think that gets hard because we need food to live, we need food to survive, we obviously need food to live. But I think a lot of times we have an emotional attachment to food that we might not be aware of. And so maybe even now, before we kind of get into the thick of the Christmas and New Year season, think about some of your favorite foods and what your emotional attachment is to them. And that way you can go into the holidays and you can know, you know what? I'm not really hungry for grandma's chocolate velvet cake, but I'm really hungry for grandma because I miss her. And this cake reminds me of her. Or maybe it's something else for you. But I think so many times we have a craving or we have this attachment to food. And it's really not even about the food, but it's more about the memories that we've made around it, or about the people that we've enjoyed it with, or who made it for us and how they cared for us and they loved us. And we're missing that for whatever reason in our lives. And so maybe it would be helpful to journal some of your favorite foods and some of the memories around those foods, and ask yourself, when you're presented with those foods, am I really hungry for the food or am I hungry for the memory? Because if you're hungry for the memory and you're eating the food to get the memory, you're probably not going to experience what you're looking for. You might, and that's wonderful. But if you're not, you might fall into the trap that I did and just think that you can eat more of the food to create the memory. And then before you know it, you've got an empty pie plate and you feel worse off than you did before you started. So maybe that's just my journey. But I know there's a lot of attachment and emotion associated with food and the holidays. And that's why next week we're going to dive in a little bit more to emotional health during the holidays, because I think that would be really beneficial during this time, because we can get caught up in lots of traps with family members and expectations and old behaviors and patterns. And it can just be a real interesting time. But I want you to be set up for success. I want you to be healthy in every way so that you can be fully present and enjoy the holidays. So I'm going to put a link to this drink guide in the show notes for you. If you have any questions, if you need anything, know that I'm here for you and I'm cheering you on. We'll talk to you next week. Bye for now.